Carney hints more floor crossings could be coming. You know what's more suspenseful than a Netflix cliffhanger? Mark Carney casually dropping hints that he's not done collecting MPs like their Pokemon cards. The Liberals are one seat away from a majority, and Canada's newest Prime Minister just told CBC that more floor crossings might be on the menu. Buckle up, because Canadian politics just went from chess match to reality TV elimination round. Hey, quick favor. If you're already hooked, smash that subscribe button and hit the bell icon. Seriously, over 90% of you are watching without subscribing. It's free, takes 2 seconds, and honestly, it helps us keep bringing you these political bombshells. Cheers if you did. Now, let us get back to the chaos. So here's the situation. Mark Carney, former central banker turned Liberal leader turned Prime Minister, sat down with CBC's Rosemary Barton for a year-end interview that was supposed to be about reflection and holiday cheer. Instead, Carney essentially admitted he's running a political recruitment campaign that would make corporate headhunters jealous. The Liberals currently sit in minority territory, clinging to power by their fingernails, just one seat shy of that magical majority number, and apparently, Carney's got his eyes on the prize. Now, let us rewind for a second. Floor crossing in Canadian politics is basically when an MP decides their current party isn't vibing with them anymore, so they pack up their office supplies and waltz across the aisle to join another team. It is perfectly legal, occasionally happens, and absolutely drives voters mental because, well, they voted for you under one banner, mate. But here is where it gets spicy. Carney is not just hoping for organic defections. He is openly hinting that conversations are happening. That is right. Active recruitment. During the interview, when Barton pressed him about whether he expects more MPs to cross the floor to the Liberals, Carney gave one of those politician answers that somehow says everything and nothing at the same time. He smiled, dodged slightly, then basically said the door's open and people are walking through it. Translation? He is absolutely courting MPs from other parties, and he wants everyone to know it without actually saying it. It is like political peacocking, showing off just enough feathers to make his opponents nervous. But here is what makes this absolutely fascinating. The Liberals need exactly one more seat for a majority government. One single seat. That means Carney does not need a mass exodus or some dramatic party revolt. He just needs one MP, somewhere in Canada, to decide that their future looks brighter in Liberal red than whatever color jersey they are currently wearing. And judging by his comments, he thinks he has got a pretty good shot at making that happen. Now, you might be thinking, who on earth would cross the floor right now? Good question. Let us look at the landscape. The Conservatives are sitting pretty in opposition, unified in fundraising like absolute machines. They are not bleeding members. The NDP? They have already been propping up Liberal governments for years through agreements and deals, so while floor crossing is theoretically possible, it would be a brutal betrayal of their base. That leaves the Bloc Québécois and the handful of independent MPs floating around Parliament. The Bloc is fiercely nationalist and Quebec-focused. Would one of their MPs really jump ship to a federalist party? Stranger things have happened in Canadian politics, but it would be like watching a Canadiens player sign with the Maple Leafs. Scandalous. Then there are the independents. These are MPs who have either left their parties voluntarily or were booted out for various reasons. They are political free agents, and historically, they have been prime targets for floor-crossing recruitment. Carney's team has likely been sliding into their DMS, metaphorically speaking, offering committee positions, cabinet considerations, and all sorts of political goodies that come with being part of the governing party instead of sitting alone in the parliamentary wilderness. But let us talk about the optics here, because they are absolutely wild. Mark Carney has been Prime Minister for, what, a handful of months? And he is already playing hardball politics like he has been doing this his entire life. Which, to be fair, he kind of has. The man spent years as Governor of the Bank of Canada, then headed over to the Bank of England, where he navigated Brexit chaos like some kind of financial wizard. He is used to high-stakes decisions and strategic positioning. But this is a whole different game. This is not about interest rates and monetary policy. This is about egos, ambitions, party loyalty, and the very messy business of human relationships in politics. And here is where it gets even more interesting. Every single MP watching that CBC interview now knows that Carney's got his shopping list out. If you are a backbench MP feeling ignored by your party leadership, suddenly you have got options. If you are in a riding that is trending liberal anyway, maybe you are thinking about your political survival. Carney's comments were not just directed at potential floor crossers. They were a message to every MP on Parliament Hill that the Liberals are open for business, and they are willing to deal. The opposition parties, meanwhile, are absolutely losing their minds. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has been hammering away at Liberal ethics and governance issues for months, building towards what he hopes will be an election victory. The last thing he wants is Carney solidifying a majority through floor crossings and avoiding an election altogether. The NDP is stuck in an awkward position of sometimes supporting the government while also trying to differentiate themselves. And the Bloc? They are watching this circus from Quebec, thinking about how they can leverage the chaos for more provincial powers and funding. But let us address the elephant in the room. Is this democratic? Technically, yes. MPs are not bound to their parties like indentured servants. They are elected as individuals who happen to run under party banners. But there is something that feels off about the whole thing, right? Voters cast ballots based on party platforms, leadership, and local candidates. When an MP switches teams mid-mandate, it feels like a bait-and-switch. You ordered a pepperoni pizza and someone delivered a Hawaiian. Sure, it is still pizza, but it is not what you asked for. Carney, however, does not seem particularly bothered by these concerns. His comments suggest he views floor crossing as a legitimate political strategy, a way to build consensus and strengthen his government without the expense and uncertainty of an election. And honestly, from a pure power politics perspective, it is brilliant. Why risk an election when you can sweet-talk your way to a majority? Why spend millions on a campaign when you can offer one MP a cabinet position and call it a day? The real question is whether Carney can actually pull this off. Political recruiting is not like hiring for a corporate job. These are people with reputations, constituencies, and political futures to consider. Crossing the floor can be career suicide if your voters feel betrayed. It can also be a massive opportunity if you are stuck in a dying party or facing an uncertain future. Carney's pitch has to be good enough to overcome the fear, attractive enough to justify the risk, and convincing enough to make an MP believe their future is brighter on his side of the House. What is absolutely certain is that Canadian politics just got a whole lot more interesting. Every vote in Parliament now carries extra weight. Every disgruntled MP is a potential recruit. Every party leader is watching their caucus like a hawk, terrified someone might make a move. And Mark Carney is sitting there, probably enjoying a nice cup of tea, watching the speculation swirl while casually reminding everyone that his door remains open. So what happens next? Well, if Carney gets his floor crosser and secures the majority, he will have pulled off one of the slickest political maneuvers in recent Canadian history. He will have avoided an election, strengthened his grip on power, and proven that he is not just some technocratic outsider but a genuine political operator. If he does not, well, he has still managed to create massive uncertainty and anxiety among his opponents, which is not a bad consolation prize. Either way, Carney's already won this round of the media cycle, and that CBC interview will be studied in political science classes for years to come as a masterclass in strategic communication. Thanks for watching, legends. We will be keeping our eyes glued to Parliament Hill because something tells me this story is far from over. Catch you in the next one.